Okay, let me start recording this and see if this works. This is OBS. I want to show you there's 4 main control boxes that you're going to have opened up, and you can lock those in the title Docs, D-O-C-K-S. It's the 4th one over from File on the top. And you can see how I have checked off Scenes, Sources, Audio Mixer, and I'm going to add one called Controls, okay? Then you can click anywhere else. Okay, so we're good. All right, so the way this works is you have Scenes in this box, you have Sources, you have an Audio Mixer, and you have your Controls, okay? Let's start with Scenes. Imagine you own a huge, like a box store type of building, and inside you do various videos, and you have scenes set up, and one scene is the kitchen, and one scene is the living room, and one scene is a bar, and whatever. And each scene has its own cameras, lighting, microphones, whatever. And you can move from one scene to another, all right? So that's basically what we're being offered here in OBS. So let's go to the first scene, and in the scene, once you have a scene named, if you want to add a scene, anything you add, even sources, you hit the plus sign, and then you can type in, I could type in, for example, another scene. Let's type in SD90. Okay, that's going to be a scene, and then, okay. But before we do that, let's erase that. So let's hit this garbage can here and say, yes, we want to remove SD. We have to have audio. And to hear music and recording and accordion and vocals, you're going to have to add audio input. So you hit this plus sign. And when you hit the plus sign in Sources, this window opens up and you have a huge selection. I can add my iPhone camera as a camera that'll actually see on this OBS what I'm seeing with my phone. A window capture, for example, I could make my laptop window a display to show in OBS if I wanted to bring it to the internet. A video capture is like a webcam. You could do other things. Media sources, you could do an image. You could put an image, game capture. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my audio input, and you're going to, when you add something, you're going to create something new. So we're going to say yes, I'm going to add that. And then you're going to be given this page, and it's going to say default, and you select that, and it's going to have your choices. In my case, I have a Steinberg UR24C, and I'm going to select that and say OK. And now my meter down here is going to start going up and down. All right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this one because I already put in the audio interface. All right. So now I'm going to add, first 2 things I add is an input audio and an output audio. So I'm going to do the same with output, and I'm going to create, it says create new. I can say OK, and I'm going to select the Steinberg also as my line output. So that's good. All right. Now I'm going to need a video. I've got the voice, so let's add a video, and I'll simply add my, I'm going to add a video capture device. Okay, when I do that, it's going to say, okay, create a new one. I'm going to say yes, and okay, I'm going to get this, and it automatically went to my integrated webcam. But I also have, I could have picked my InnoGenie SD90 interface. I have I don't want that. I have some other cameras that I don't have on right now that would pop up here, and I could have selected them. So I'm going to say OK. And so here I am. Here's my laptop webcam, and you can hear me because I have the microphone plugged in to my audio interface. Actually, now this is cool. I have my microphone plugged in the back of my SD90, and my SD90 is plugged in left and right channel into the audio interface, and the audio interface is connected by a USB into my laptop. So that's how all this is happening. Okay, so, pretty simple, right? One tip is kind of cool. Let's say I don't want, all this stuff over here to my left. What I can do is I can hold down my alternate key on my keyboard, and I can grab this left side of the window, I have to hold down the alternate first, and when I drag it over that little green, you see that little green line appears, so I can get rid of all that stuff over there. Okay, that's kind of cool. All right, so that's one thing. And then I can grab the corner down here, and I can open it up a little bit like that. Okay. If I wanted to, I could add, let's center this a little bit. I could put my SD90 in here somewhere. So let's go down. We're still in this scene called scenes. I haven't added another scene yet. And I've got my audio input and output, and I have a video capture, which is my laptop. And now I'm going to click on, I'm going to add another, what am I adding on? A source. And I'm going to go to, I want it to be a video capture device. Okay, and I'm going to say new. I could name it if I want, but I don't want to do that right now. So I've got a video capture device, and I'm going to make it my Genie. Okay. Now, there we go. So this miraculously came up right away. Sometimes I have to unplug the USB where the Genie plugs into my computer hub, my USB hub. Sometimes I have to unplug it and plug it back in. It gets a little finicky. So, okay, so here we have that. And, okay, so now it's on top of my picture. I'm going to move it, but first I'm going to trim it. So I'm going to hold down my alternate key on and I'm going to move this line over, and I'm going to hold down my key. Oh, I got to hold down the key first, and then, yeah, okay. There you go. And even down here on the bottom. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to, make it a little smaller, and I could put it up here, okay? So now I could demonstrate while you're watching me and talking, and I can have this up here. But let's say I want this to be in I want it to be in its own scene. Okay, I want to click a different scene, and all you're going to see is a large SD90. So what I'm going to do, rather than reinvent the wheel, and I have to set up my audio input and audio output again and all that, what I'm going to simply do is I'm going to right-click on the scene I have, and I'm going to hit duplicate. Okay, and it's going to be, I'm going to call it SD90. Okay. All right, now I'm going to say okay. Bam. Okay, so now if I click on SD90, it's going to be the same thing, but I don't want my face on SD90, so I'm going to get rid of my face. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Okay, and I'm going to open this up like this so that you have a full picture. Okay, so now while I'm recording, I'm going to click the first scene where I'm going to be talking to you, and then while I'm talking, I can click to this one, okay? And so you get the idea. One tip I'm going to give you as you start adding cameras, you see how this is kind of deceiving. I had to open up this audio. It took me a little while to figure this out, but it's a little deceiving when you're adding cameras and the like. some of the cameras have audio inputs in them, and you'll record. You think you sound great, and then when you play your file later on, you'll hear yourself in duplicate, and it sounds crappy. So as you add devices, make sure that you're muting them. So just click right here, and you can mute them, and I can close this back up. These boxes move around. By the way, you can put them wherever you want to taste, and you'll see how they work. So that's a little thing about scenes, about sources, and audio mix. There's some other things about audio mix. I'm not going to go into that right now. And then you have this control box over here to the right, and when you're recording a video, you hit start recording, it turns blue, and you know you're recording, and when you're at the end, you just hit, it'll turn blue, and it'll say stop recording, and then when you're done recording, you hit stop recording, and it stops, okay? Make sure you hit start recording, because streaming is something else. Streaming, you'll be on YouTube or Facebook, that's another time, but we're just going to concentrate on recording right now. Once you've stopped the recording, the way to retrieve the recording that you just made is to go up to File and go to Show Recordings, and it'll bring you to a folder with a bunch of files in it, and you'll be able to locate the recording you just did because it has a date stamp on it and a time, so you can identify that. So that's the first phase of how I make recordings. The second phase is I transfer the file or the recording that I just made over to a video editing program called Wondershare Filmora, and then I edit the video, I tweak the audio, and I export it to what is called an MP4 video, and then I take that MP4 video and I insert it into YouTube, and then that's how I make my YouTube videos, and then I copy links to those and send them, put them in a Facebook page or whatever. All right? So hopefully that'll give you a start. We can do some FaceTime. If you have some questions, we can compare our settings to make sure our video and audio devices are set up properly. Okay? But that should get you started. All right? Thanks.